Okay, this video is just going to be some tips on how to wire up our Wheatstone bridge. Here is the wiring schematic that's in the lab handout. So we have gauge 1 and gauge 2 over on the left side, and if we go up a little bit here, it says an upper surface gauge should be wired as gauge 1 and a lower surface gauge as gauge 2. And then we just have our two fixed resistances that are set to the same nominal resistance as our strain gauges, which is 350 ohms. Now the main tip for this is just to wire up that diamond shape, incorporating the two fixed resistors and the two strain gauges. Start with that. So gauge 1 is one of the upper surface gauges. So like we said in the previous video, the black is the top. So gauge 1 is on the top, and that goes over to one of the fixed resistors. That wire then becomes this node right here. And we don't need to worry about polarity because these are all resistors. So now we're gonna create the node in between the two fixed resistors. So we just did there. So that would be this node. Now I want to come over here and come from that second fixed resistor over to the gauge on the bottom. So we grab another cable. This time we go from here over to here over to a red. And then finally we want to connect the two strain gauges. So we do that here and here. So we're going gauge 1, the top fixed resistor, the top fixed resistor to the bottom fixed resistor, to the bottom fixed resistor, over to the bottom strain gauge, and then we connect our two strain gauges with that orange. So we have the diamond. Now we want to, after we've calculated what that maximum source voltage we should use is, we want to connect that to the nodes between the two gauges and between the two fixed resistors. Just as a little helpful note, once you calculate what that max is, you do want to go close to that max. Don't exceed it, but get close to it. You'll get a better signal. So we'll just sorry, I'm doing all this one-handed. So we're going to want to take our power supply, and we can run the negative to the node between the two fixed resistors. So that is this green one right here. And then our positive, we want to take that and run that to the node between the two gauges. So that would be this orange one right here. If you get mixed up with the polarities of these, you can just switch them in the end. You're probably going to want to see, when you pull down on this, you're going to want to see your force go up on your display. If it goes down, all you got to do is just switch the cables to get the right polarity. So now that the output voltage is going to be between gauge 1 and its closest fixed resistor, and then between gauge 2 and its closest fixed resistor. So that would be, one of those would be blue, and one of those would be yellow. So one is on that blue cable there, one is on this yellow cable. This is kind of a mess. I'm doing it one-handed. I'm keeping this laptop close by so we can see it. I suggest cleaning this up a little bit when you are doing yours and you have multiple hands to do it. This, just check and see where you have some good terminals, and then use those, and then you'll set that as your channel when you create your LabVIEW code. I'll show a couple tips about how to do that in the next video.